Hello. We have the crime scenes to clean. Yeah, I do drain Sim, but I'm still on that one level that I was probably kind of sort of stuck on because the water didn't fully clear like I was supposed to. Try to restart it, and that didn't work. So, yeah. I'll see if I can just finish that one level offline and then I can get back to it on stream. So we're gonna do this. And my controller's still probably a few days out, honestly. So tomorrow's gonna be another game on my PC. Not sure what it's gonna be, but it'll be something. Alright, I can see if there's something I can play on my Xbox that doesn't involve a left bumper. Alright, so we're gonna do some more nightmare levels. Ooh. There we go. So we did Italian job, now it's Affair with Death, but in nightmares.
It'll be a long night.
It will be. Probably.
Even your own home can turn into a trap if you're not careful enough. Get out while you still can.
Yes. Yes, that sounds good. Yeah, let's clean up this blood. That looks kind of messy. I don't got a witty joke about what happened here. That is not good. Somebody spilled their raspberry jam, I guess. Let's just dab that in there. Dab up here, and then... Dab resistance, why not? Good to have some resistance every once in a while. You know, you know. Okay. I guess one of my nightmare unlocks is the fish. It's the fish mop. That doesn't make any sense. Well, Cabal's having nightmares when the crime scene is cleaned up. It's supposed to make absolute sense. Clean up blood, cause it's Ruby. Nope, okay. If I recall, this one, this nightmare was actually kind of unique. It had some like puzzle element to it. You can't get to the next area unless you resolve some puzzles. Where it's having to put a certain number of things in a basket or find clues of what the combination for something is. Stuff like that. I will presume that here I've got to find the ducks. I think it's from that room and put them in the proper baskets here. Or maybe it's a thing I need a certain number of ducks in each basket. I don't remember. You can go and find out though. I'm going to clean this up. Clean it up. I'm going to have to do something else. So help me Thought stuff better. Like blue. Blue. I remember that star meaning something. I don't remember what it was, but I'll find out later. Probably. So I think with that one, it's it's repeated on the buttons that are over there. First, let me get these duckies out of the way. Oh, I think I know what this is. I think I remember what it is. It's probably going to be collect all the ducks of various colors, and however many there are, that's going to lead to a combination to probably that number pad. I think that's what it was. Now I remember. Well, yeah, I'm not going to be a CSI. I'm not cleaning. I'm not solving the crime. I'm just cleaning it up. Probably without an investigation. And in this case, this is a nightmare level. This is Kowalski having a nightmare about crimes. Things gets cleaned up, but it does lead to neat skins for stuff like this mop. That's not a mop. Yeah, it is. It is a nightmare. This is a game that I know was on Xbox Game Pass, which is how I first played it. No, I think I saw somebody playing. I'm like, oh, that's neat. Oh, it's on Game Pass on Xbox finally. I'm gonna play it some. But I'd gotten it for the I got it for the PC prior to that. That's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. There we go. Now I remember. Then I played it a bunch on the Xbox, and then just figured to come back around here because I'm presuming it's like the PC would get everything first, and then the consoles eventually follow suit. That's just how it be. So this is a game that I actually got on two different platforms. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. I probably do solely prefer playing it on the PC because I have the 1 through 9 of the keyboard, which is much nicer to get to your tool. It could be a favorite drink. You could also hate something bad. Also could be that just it's just like a nightmare. Because he's just remembering the things he's seen and cleaned up. You are... I guess you're blue. Kind of match. I guess you're blue. Technically.
I make the rules.
I am the nightmare. Yeah, that sounds something Randy Savage would say. It does. That's not it. No. That's the second one. That's the last one. Okay. Is that the third one? No. It's... No. 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 It's the last one. Wait. That's how you get last. I presume it could be the last two ducks. Let's get these duckies out of the safe. That's not where duckies go. Right now it's looking like it's going to be 5, 3, 2, 2 to get out of here, but there might be... Yeah, but there's probably some more ducks in here, so let's eat you. And there. There's another red duck. Come with me. You gonna go over here. Well, not of the entire rainbow, just of some of it. I don't think white is the entire rainbow. Then you have... I'm trying to think, because there's technically like two different primary color sets. There's a red, blue, yellow that we learned in school, and then I think it's red, blue, green. I think it's red, blue, green is the one for, is another one, and that would be for, like, computers, I think. I think that's the other set of primary colors that you could have. Okay. That star's gonna mean something later, I know it. Just don't remember what yet. Ah, crap. I'll fetch you later. Okay. I have to remember that body in the story. But yeah, I think Crime Scene Cleaner is still on Game Pass on Xbox. I haven't checked in a while. But it could be another neat one to spice things up for your gaming needs. Okay, I think that's all the ducks. So that would be 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 7, 4, 2, 3. That's not it. Am I missing a duck then? If I'm missing one, that's 7, 5. Yep, there's one. Whoopsie. There's the one there that I missed. Okay, good thing I had to go back. Or I'd be like, huh? What? Granted, I also probably just guessed that it's probably just one more than what I guessed prior, but... Okay, 7, 5. 3, 3? That doesn't seem right. Which one am I potentially looking for? Green. 7534. No, there's 4 ducks there. 7534. What? Oh, you're all being picky. I gotta. There we go. Had to put the first one in first. That's fine. In this case, out. We're out of this area and on to the next one.
So much blood. I'm seeing red now.
This is a game that if you want to have be compared to Power Wash Sim, this is kind of like a darker version of Power Washing. The Power Wash Sim's like, oh, LOL, our town got dirty with lore that's like weird and out there. But yeah, this is just you're a janitor. I think you're a janitor at a high school, and your daughter needs medical care, and you are like, hey, go talk to your friend. Had a we'll say it's an accident with a friend over some less than legal substances, and you get hooked up to this mob boss after doing that first level. And you also have other people like, hey, can you help me clean up this messy scene? So it's why we need universal health care in this country. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people also did compare this to being a much better. I think Viscerous cleanup detail is great. There's definitely times though where it's like it's a little clunky, a little wonky sometimes. And part of that's the charm. But this seems like this is the modern version of it, for sure. Okay, so I'm thinking the next part of the combination is 5 because you have 4 paintings there and there's a 5 made in that handprints. So it's going to be something 50 something. I do have a Viscera cleanup detail. Maybe if I don't know what else to play, maybe I can play that tomorrow. Because my new Xbox controller is not showing up until sometime next week. Ooh, a key. I'll need that for something. Abracadabra. And abracadabra. And abracadabra. More abracadabra. More abracadabra. Yeah, I think this trash bag came from doing a mission in the Act 2 of the story of this game. Kind of they had the story from the first game, and then eventually they added in like the nightmare levels like this, along with True Cleaner, which says, hey, how well do you know these levels? Bet you can't clean it up without like in True Cleaner mode, you don't get the cleaner vision like this, so you gotta just use like a dark light in order to see the stains. But then also, it's also without the the cleaner vision, you can't have it highlight where missing things are, where trash is you need to pick up, and all of that. So you gotta like either know where everything is or be like really freaking thorough and double triple checking everything. Then they added in 2 missions that were what are they called? It was some play off of the term Illuminati, like maybe Community, I think. There's 2 of those levels you can do. which I did. And then they added Act 2 to the game, where after you help the mob boss, you have to go help his daughter now. And it's many years later, which, spoiler, your daughter gets the care she needs, yay, but you have to kind of go back to the life that you thought you left behind. Because it's hard to leave the crime life fully. Looking at skins. Okay, I don't have... This is a skin that I really do want. It's the black hole one, but for now to have a magic hat. But yeah, as I said, Visitor Space Cleanup, bit janky, but it is some of it's kind of some of its charm. It's kind of how it just is. I think it's one I may have seen Markiplier playing. First, how I became aware of it. Then once I got this decent gaming rig that I have, I decided to just grab it and play it because, well, I really liked the game. So it looked neat, looked kind of funny. Something that I do occasionally, or I've definitely done in the past, is that if I get like really deep into a new YouTuber, I'll just sit and like just binge through all of their stuff. And there might have been a time when I was listening to a lot of I think it was probably around the time I also found August the Duck, so I was like watching a lot of his new videos. So it's just one of those things where it's just I can kind of associate, if I were to watch an August the Duck video or if I were to play some of those levels, I could just remember and just like tie the two back together. You're strange. I know I can be, but that's how I be. So. Yeah, we'll just put that up there. Joink. Get this chair out of the tub, put that there. Heart. I'm pretty sure that this PC that I got in, I think it would have to be, in 2024, it probably eats that for lunch. If there's any jank, it'd probably just be because it's just, yeah, Unreal 3 is probably just, there's been various things that have probably been coded vastly differently over the years, so it just doesn't do it that way anymore.
No one will even notice.
But yeah, just I'm pretty sure it runs it as good as it would ever be able to run. Because again, this PC that is way off camera. I got it made in
I'm not a garbage man.
2024, so it probably eats it for lunch. Because I think everything's on. I think we've hit Unreal Engine 5 now. I think that's what everything is on. I know, and I think it's that because I know people are getting rightfully kind of antsy that Unreal 6 might use a lot of AI stuff, which I think NVIDIA is like, oh, look at our whatever it is, uses AI, and people are like, you change the art style of the things you're upscaling. No. Like, no, it looks like bad. I believe with the bunny ears up, yep. There we go. Okay, so I'm presuming that with multiple parking spaces, 2 in the first spot. My code to get to the next room is going to be 2. Five. 01. Let's try that. I got a little thrown off because that's not showing the whatever.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, Toyota 2013. Can't remember when the game came out. I have no idea when the game came out. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great degree of you can just rattle off like, oh yeah, various computer parts into me and just like the other reason I would know that some parts really good is because it just came out or everybody's talking about it. That's about it. Which is why if you're asking like, what's in your computer? Is it good, bad, or whatever? I'm like, when I went to build it, it was the cheapest and lowest AMD parts at the time, and I'm not gonna say they were like outdated at the time, but it was something I probably should have dropped a little bit more money on to get slightly better parts. That's just me. That was on me. Gives me probably another reinforcement of my biggest lesson when it comes to at least tech of don't cheap out on it. Drop a few extra bucks if you can, because you'll not have it get outdated on you quite as soon, and or it won't break on you as soon. I feel like the first time I had that spend a little extra on tech thing, it's probably been with, I think when we were all first getting cell phones in the house. I can't remember if it was then or like at some point when went cheap on cell phones, and well, they came back to bite at least me because it broke and died, and I went kind of cheap with a laptop. Probably about 8-9 years ago, I went cheap with a laptop. I'm like, I can give it a $400 laptop in about a year. It wasn't holding up. How many games do I have on Steam that are on the edge of this is about just about playable? I don't know. I have a couple of games that like Helldivers 2 was the reason I got the gaming PC, and I feel like I'm definitely sitting on that edge. There's probably a bunch of games that I could play. Of the games that I have, I think most of them are games that I was playing years ago, and I knew that so I have like the Total War games, like Rome and Rome 2 Total War. I was playing those on PCs, 15, 20 years ago, and they were running pretty alright. This little mini PC I'm streaming on that stream off of, I got that in 2022, and I could eat Rome and Rome 2 Total War pretty well. I don't get a lot of games on my PC that are like really, really new. They're all, I think, as far back as I feel comfortable going, is games that came out maybe in 2020. And even then, I'm certain there would be something that's like pushing it. Again, just overall, I'm still very new to PC gaming. I still feel like, even though I've toyed with it off and on and, got the gaming rig back in 24, it's just I knew that I just need to get a much better idea. I need to just dedicate the money to a really good gaming rig. And because I think, at least a little bit, it's just that consoles, I don't know if it's always been a thing, but for probably at least a generation or two now, it's been kind of a thing that, like Microsoft and Sony at least, sell their consoles at cost or even at a loss, and then just make it up with games and peripherals and first party titles and subscriptions and all that. So consoles should really have been, at least for a while now, a whole lot more expensive than they were. I know that people are looking at, I think they said, what, the PlayStation 6, it may be cracking $1,000. Because again, just Sony was just, at some point at least, they were just eating the cost, going like, yeah, sure, we'll sell it for like $600 and take a loss, but then we'll just make up the money in the back end because of PlayStation Plus and games and all that. So I need to just put together like $1,500, $2,000 probably, and just build like a really good gaming PC where I go a couple of notches up from, yeah, this is just good enough. Because I probably would have gone a few notches up in, cause I think when I was building my PC, I was just trying to go, okay, what's the bare minimum for me to play Helldivers, which was a stupid way to go. I should have just, again, just said, okay, a few extra bucks to, have it stay relevant. Of course, I also know that there's always a thing of gaming PCs, the gaming parts. It's not vital to get the bleeding edge of graphics cards or anything. Whereas, like, you can get away with, getting what's probably can be viewed as kind of like middle of the power game. Because when it comes to, I think that's had to be a thing in computers for probably at least a decade or two now, is parallel programming with a bunch of processors and all of that. And when it comes to parallel programming, your initial thought is like, oh, well, if I throw more processors at it, then, clearly that's better. Which, in part, yes, but if you don't have a good way to divvy up the work that the various processors and threads are doing, then you might end up just having threads just sitting there waiting for something to do. So again, it can become a thing of, oh yeah, you have the bleeding edge of it. Oh, but like nothing can really take advantage of the multiple processors and all of that. And I think it was probably with the PS4, Xbox One, is when comparing the two consoles to each other was kind of pointless, because you'd be throwing out technical jargon about this many teraflops for this, and this many megahertz for that, and it became a question like, what does that mean? It means that those are the stats. That's what it can do. It's just it. There probably was a point where, oh yes, clearly the one console's more powerful than the other, but at a certain point it becomes, again, just kind of like technical jargon that only like the biggest of nerds would know what it means. Then even then they may not agree upon which one's better. And again, if you have all that power, great, can anybody use it? So
Easy peasy.
yeah, again, so I guess some context around me getting this gaming rig is that I had gotten it when I'd still only been employed at the last job I had for a few months, and I was still just eyeing all of the debt that I had before the 6 months of unemployment that had hit me there, and then the surviving the 6 months of unemployment. I was like, I don't want to. I didn't want to drop too much on it. But again, I look back now, it's like I would have been fine to drop another few hundred on it. It wasn't going to make a difference, because the place I did at Exotic PC, I went with them because like they up front said, hey, we can help you with like financing or whatever. You can, like finance it, play now, pay later kind of thing. And it came out to be, it was like maybe about $35 a month I paid. I think is what it was, like 35 a month for a year, and then hey, I owned it. So yeah, I could have spared it to be like, like 40, 45 a month to get a slightly better PC. Alright, so here's 3. Now for a math problem. That minus 3. So I give it my one time to think. I remember doing this before. I just need to my brain spin on it for a second. I'm a math nerd. I'll figure this out. It was 3. Eagle, we got Pharaoh. So plus 2x minus x equals 7. Minus 3, 2x minus x equals 4. Well, the other 99%, some are probably dumb, but some are also just math's not their thing. Okay. That would not work. Because if 3x equals 4, that'd be a whole number. Crap. Alright. Why? From so in the end, three to 7 is a difference of 4. So I added 4. So the eagle is 4. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. The pharaoh. With that, we can do x minus 4 equals 8x plus 4 on each side. X equals 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a feeling there's a code somewhere. It's codes 1, 2, 3, 4. Which, of course, is super secure.
I'm in.
Well, yes, thank you. I will take this key. I think with mathematics, a problem, at least in the US, is that there's a lot of, here, just do this thing. You don't have a why. Some of the math that I did in high school, it was called integrated math, at least in the school system that I was in, that we were in. It was a lot of word problems. It was a lot of kind of like, here's an example of how you would use said mathematics principle, not, here, do an integral. Why? What would I use it for? here, do this really complicated mathematics. Okay, but what's an example? Why? Theory, teaching a bunch of people mathematical theory is not going to be good because they can't learn it, they can't apply it. Because there's a question that is one half just I kind of want to like smack people for, and the other half, like I understand it, is when am I going to use this? And it can lead to another thing of a question about just how do you do education for everyone? Because this is my truck. Because I was one that I was going to college. So, and I was going to do programming, so it made sense that I would take a lot more of the advanced mathematics classes. But somebody else, it's just it's never going to do them any good. As long as they can abstract, multiply, and divide, and know their order of operations, that's it. When it comes to education, I think it's once you get to like grades 9 through 12, that's when you really need to be like to start looking at people going, okay, what is really going to be best for you? Because I'm going to college, for example. You may never go to college, and that's nothing good or bad. It's just a thing of college is not going to be your thing. Your thing might be going and learning how to weld. You don't need to do calculus for that. You don't need to have a super deep understanding of science for that. You just need to know how to do the welding, you know. So having everybody sit through the same math classes that I would need to sit through, it's not going to do them any good because they'll never use it. And their time it might be better spent, you know, doing more with, you know, art, because they're going to be drawing stuff, or we'd be saying, hey, let's have you do an apprenticeship at, you know, this place that's doing doing like car repair or something, and having people learn how to do car repairs, because that's what they would that's something that will do them a lot of good, because that's something that they'll do. So I guess it's like high school needs to be a lot more specialized to all these like numbers. What will serve somebody good? What are they going to do after high school? And for some people, it might be a thing of by 16, you just need to have them doing apprenticeships. You need them just not sitting in a classroom, because it does not do them any good, because they're not going to learn anything else. They're going to be bored. So no forehead.
I'm in.
Also, could be another thing. A friend of mine, Chris, who's not very good at math, unless he's playing a card game like Yu-Gi-Oh. But something like Yu-Gi-Oh, oh, he can, you know, calculate, oh, the attack is this and the defense is this, and you lose this many life points. He can do that all day. But if it was just regular old mathematics, he wasn't going to be able to do that, because it's not going to appeal to him. So I think it's the thing, like, you have to find what appeals to people. That's what the key is. It's why I can't fully be like, why are you asking when you're going to use it? Just learn. Because again, it's a valid question of when are people going to use some of this stuff. If you can find a time and a place for them to be using it, a reason why they would care about it, you know, you're in great shape. Because I'm almost certain it's a thing of, if I were to give you, again, there's going to be certain times where you'll care about doing mathematics, but only for a very certain thing. Only a certain time you'll care to be counting out and calculating and figuring all that out. Same with sciences, same with history, same with a lot of stuff. You get somebody's interest, they'll be good at it, I think. The TLDR of that is education needs to be a lot more mindful of what do people care about versus, well, everybody's going to do the exact same stuff because there's no point to that. There's certain things everybody needs to know, but there's also a certain point where it's just, people aren't going to care. And it very much might be a thing of, yeah, it would be a thing of, you got to find a way for people to learn it in a way that makes sense to them. So it might be more visual, so it might be more auditory, so it might be just, you have to do it through video games, or you have to do it just very piecemeal, or a very specific example that they care about.
This whole place is rotten down to the foundations. What do you make of it, boss?
Their daughter wanted to summon the... She thought it would be funny.
What woke kids do these days just to get out of the house?
Okay, so there's like dart, billiard ball, money, knife. Dart is on 9. Billiard ball. Guess it's going on which one's missing. 1, 2, 3. So 9, 4, 7. 9, 4, 7, 4. I'm thinking no, because I was talking about, you know, like, hey, Edgelord, take the edge off for everything a knife.
Screw this.
Okay, that's not quite right. Or would it be knife my wife? Of course. Yeah, at least in the nightmare mode it is, yeah. That's why I like these nightmare levels, because they add some puzzles to them. You're a nerd, I know I'm a nerd.
Easy peasy.
I don't think there would be times in the main story where you had to, like, piece together what the, what the code was. But I haven't really just found it. I don't remember now. It's been a while since I've done the main story.
I take you
Still fun to do.
piece of trash.
Oh, she's there. Doorknob. Or door handle, I should say. Is there anything else in here? I just need to... Ah, it's right there. Now we in the kitchen. Alrighty. Let me grab that bag of trash and get it to the truck. I can... Yeah, we'll go this way. Either would get me to the parking lot, but... Baby blood. Blood. Give me his blood, okay. So that's the driveway clear. My black light.
themselves.
I also need to grab my bucket. Mr. Bucket. Blood stuff in it. Mr. Bucket. Doo-doo. Let me not spill my bucket, because that would be bad. Let's put you right here. You're out of the way. Yay. Okay. It can feel like magic for sure. And yes, the skin I have for the trash can is definitely a magician's hat. I need to just see if I can let. I don't know if it's a magic bucket necessarily. So it's just a regular old bucket. You put water in, put soap in, and stuff gets clean.
Need to empty the trash can first.
I'm gonna stack a couple of bags together because it's definitely been a hot minute since I streamed Crime Scene Cleaner. I don't know if you got to see what happens when I stack those 4 bags together, because there's an upgrade where once you can like stack multiple bags together. That way you don't have a bunch of small bags, you just have like a few bigger bags. It's real nice. This floor dirty like somebody got murdered, which is bad. Getting murdered's bad for your health. Oh no. Like Rose, no bunnies were at the cleaning of this house. Don't worry.
Just think of the money. Think of the money.
Clean it up, clean it up, clean it up, clean it up. Clean up blood, clean up blood. Clean up the blood, 'cause the cops might be here and think that something happened. I do suppose maybe like a warning that probably does need to be said before it might place this is that you're cleaning up crime scenes. It's only gonna be but so haha funny. I think like we have all the achievements or references to songs. So that's fun. But like there's like people got killed. I don't know, maybe Kowalski ate some fish before he went to bed. I don't know. Again, this is nightmares, so. Ooh, another key. There's those things again. There they are again. Alright, cushion. Go here. Yep, that key is here, so now I can take out trash bags this way. Now one bag becomes one bigger bag, or 2 become 1. Hold up. I think I faintly remember seeing gaming chair in a random corner earlier. Where does I see the gamer chair? It was very much out of place wherever it was. Where was it? Ah, it was here. That's where it'd be. Get in there. Alright. Boop, boop, and boop. Clean up the blood. Clean up the blood. Place the chairs in the proper place to hide that anything happened here. Okay, that's there. If I recall, there's going to be some more paintings. I need to place them correctly to get the correct code. Okay. Probably for this. If I were to guess. For Kowalski's legal defense, we do not know what it is we're cleaning up. Just gotta. We just gonna pretend like that didn't happen. I don't know what's going on with that chair. Probably best we don't ask no questions we don't want no answers to. Okay, so I need a key to get that. But Okay, I need to. Oh, yeah, might as well clean that up. Okay, so I've seen some of those symbols. Did I eat the hat? Where did it go? Now, all that was just to get the elephants. Nope, you absolutely positively do not go there. You could go there. Judging by that, no you don't. 408.
Easy peasy.
I can just eyeballing that. I can see it. That was gonna have. Its slot was gonna be exposing the number that was in the middle bottom row. I gotta wonder if I was supposed to use that key to unlock this cabinet instead of that other door. And almost like soft locked myself for a second. Then I used my big old brain and determined what I needed to do because I got a big old brain that's smart. Went to college and everything. Gonna get boned in them college educations. Both sponges are dirty. And now the water is dirty. We get clean water. Whoosh. Water goes up, and then we will pour some of that there. Pour a little bit of that there. And then some pure detergent in there. Okay. I can clean it. You need soap. Get it all nice and clean. Can't quite get out there yet. Okay. And presto, it's clean.
What's happening? Why is the whole house humming?
It's probably our daughter's way of getting back at us. No reason to panic.
It's trying to get inside!
Okay. That goes like that. That cushion goes there. That cushion will go right there. And that goes there. Oh, that dirty. Oh, yeah, you don't go up there. You come down here. And then you're gonna get scrub dub. There we go. There we go. Get all the back cushions. We is gonna need to clean this. This is another skin I have. It's the power washer. Now the laser washer. Something like that, yeah. Need to put water in here. Need you to move, Mr. Bucket. The bucket's in the way. The bucket's down over here, out of the way. Whoops.
Can't pick up anything with a full bag.
Boy, talk about my clumsiness, or rather we got thick bunny over here. There's the set for the combination. Do you require you smashing all those glasses? Not necessarily, but no. Now it's extra thick. That's as big as it gets. 9, 5, 4, 6.
I'm in.
There's the extra key that I was gonna need for probably this. Yeah. $1,408. Didn't think to look underneath the glassware over here. That was my mistake. To wash it. All the things, hopefully. Cleaning it up. Yeah, it definitely amused me to no end when I first discovered that with the magic rabbit hat, that if you chain enough of them together, you get, you know, thick bunny. Well, they took that skin, that was the point. That's the point of that skin for the power washer there.
What is that even for?
Let me start going back through, because that's where those shapes popped up. Okay, you're yellow looking. Pink heart. Green diamond. Oops. Lost the circle and the triangle. Plus is data key. Circle and the triangle. Blue circle. Have I seen? Oh, how long is a TV screen in here? You know, you don't choose it. On the door, no. I probably could just brute force this and just change it.
I'm in.
Yeah, the last shape is back there. I need to find that blood. I am missing a good chunk of it. It's, oh, okay. Well, that's where some of you are. Okay. Yeah, I believe also the shapes can be considered Lucky Charms shapes. I don't think all of them are Lucky Charm shapes. They could be Lucky Charm shapes. There we go. Ooh, piece of paper. There it is. Okay. Cushion goes here. There we go. with me, ma'am. I got a better place for you that looked uncomfortable for you. Let's probably move that big trash bag while I'm at it. Go on, super thick buddy. Yeah. Colored shapes and Sailor Moon, those go together. Let's put you here, that way I'm running through. To get rid of trash. Get rid of trash. Some of it is this table. Zip. And zip. Get out. Shoot, that was it too. Dang it. Frick. There we go. Bash, 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 bash. Peekaboo, you. Add 2 bags of trash. I gotta smash those up just a little bit more. Hiya, 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 and hiya. Clean up old trash. Live this blood too, 'cause why not? Go with me, thick bunny. Come on, very thick bunny. Yeah, I used to watch, I guess it'd be like the first series. I think it used to be on what is probably now CW and was WB channel. I'd like to go back and watch at least the first series again at some point, because it's a really good anime. Stood test of time for a reason. That's why people like Mercedes Monet likes to have gear inspired by it. I don't think Mercedes has done a Sailor Moon inspired outfit. I know she did one for one of the Royal Rumbles before the pandemic, I think, if I recall correctly. I think it was the 2018 or 2020 Royal Rumble. Mercedes, now at the time she was Shotza Banks, had a very Sailor Moon inspired ring gear. You didn't find the record. In fact, I was looking for it. Whatever. Yeah, Sailor Moon is a very good anime.
Dexter, what are you doing up, boy?
Being a good doggo. That's what Dexter's doing up. want to get the nightmare levels done before I continue the story in Act 2. Yeah, Community was what I was thinking of. Let's play off of Illuminati. Community. Okay, we just did Affair with Death. Friendly Fire. Parties are modern art. Calling Dead. Oh, to the American Volskis. I may have actually seen not just the original, but I think like there's like a second series after that I think I remember watching as well for Sailor Moon.
Tyler really wanted to get his life together, but some of us will never escape our past. Now, all that's left of him are some memories and his cats.
Cats are pretty awesome.
Right into the bucket.
From what I recall playing these nightmare levels before, this is probably the most dreamlike and most out there of the nightmare levels. It's most clear that this is Kowalski's nightmares and dreams, trying to recall all the jobs he did. Part of the big thing for this level is you're building a giant castle out of these various boxes. Hey there, Bella, I'm gonna get you down later. And in there is going to be our place for filling up our bucket full of water.
My janitor training comes in handy once again.
Yes, it does. That goes there. That goes there. And we got Prezi and put that there. Okay. Dunk. Swamp. Dunk. Just swamp. Nope, not this one. Dunk. Dunk. Clean it up, clean it up. There's a box in here, gotta get it out. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to not lay here. You're gonna have to go in there. Hey, what the?
It's hard to get used to this.
Understandably so, Kowalski. People be dead. Don't worry about considering people considering you girly or whatever. You like what you like. Good is good. Only if someone's super insecure about their masculinity. They go, oh, I don't want to be seen as liking a girl. Like, fuck that. If you like it, you like it. Be secure in who you are. Too many people don't get to be who they are. There's going to be plenty of people. There's probably people that look exactly like me that love Sailor Moon and are obsessed with it. So you like what you like. Just Brian Zane has said it, on his channel. Like what you like, just don't be a dick. You know, just. Again, just love what you want to love. There's people that are going to make fun of people for liking pro wrestling. There's people that are going to think that whatever it is that people like, there's always somebody that's going to just super hate on it for absolutely no reason. And it's probably because they're honestly kind of a bit of a sad, pathetic person that has nothing that they like. Just one massive thing that going to college and then also just growing up and getting older and getting adult money like I have is you end up going back to those things that you put away because like, oh, that's childish, in middle school or high school or whatever. You go back to loving what you love. Especially in college, there'd be people that never gave up their love of whatever nerdy thing it is. I've got friends that are about my age that still love Pokemon. They never gave up the love of Pokemon. Doesn't matter how childish it might seem. They still loved it. That's what matters. You love it. That's what matters most. And you're going to say that a lot because it's important. Just love what you love. I find it easier that way as well. If somebody likes something that I don't get, like, oh, it's not my thing. I don't get it. So go watch the girly anime. Go watch the slightly weird thing. Be you. I mean, shoot, there's people that want to think like, oh, if you're a guy and you have a cat, you must be gay. No, it means I like a cat. There's some manager that apparently I wasn't there one day. He's like, so Nick's got a cat. Probably trying to wink, nudge, and my coworkers are just like, and? Well, they're like, no, we don't get what you're saying. He has a cat, so what? Once again, don't be a jerk to people. Let them like what they want to like. Boxes are everywhere. Sure, you want the ultimate example of just don't worry about being girly. There's the people who love My Little Pony, and they'd be guys, and they'd love it. They were called bronies. We live in a time where it really acceptable just to like what you like.
I made some bad decisions. Then my life became messier than your litter box. I can't be with you forever.
I am pretty sure that my generation will always beat the drum of just like what you gotta like, man. I can speak for the millennials. Just many of us are just like what you like. And I will hope that my generation forever holds that. We don't become a bitter, cynical thing where we're always just like, no, we've always just thought you can be who you want to be. Of course, our generation has those people that are super progressive, and then those people that are just super douchebags because they just were never loved. The generation prior just had a death grip on them and never let them see and experience, like, oh no, people can just be cool about it. They don't gotta be like exactly like the generation prior, because we shouldn't be. Every generation should be, in theory, better in as many ways as possible over the prior one. Not because the prior generation did anything wrong, but just because just be better. Books. Books. I think I've soapboxed enough about be who you want to be, like what you want to like. Hope I got the point across. I could also just give example of how I've always just very had a degree of like, yeah, I'm gonna like whatever I like. I know there was one time that I rented a game from Blockbuster because I am indeed that old, and I'm guessing it was around the time that the PlayStation 2 had come out, because forever it might have been a PlayStation game. That's why I couldn't save it. I think it was Mary-Kate and Ashley. But it was just like, it was like full of like fun games, like golf and probably like puzzles and all that. And that's what I liked about it. I almost just looked past it. I did look past it being a Mary-Kate and Ashley game. I'm like, the game's just fun. That was probably definitely where I started having my thing of just really reinforcing of, especially at least with video games, of I'll look past the skin of what's over. If it's a good game underneath, it's a good game. The skin of it's not irrelevant per se, but it's also a degree of just like good is good. Blood everywhere. Oh, Lord. I remember this one taking a bit too, because I think just finding all the boxes and stacking them proper and all that. I think also there is something up on the roof. I'll get that gay. Bucket. The best way to live is just don't worry yourself over what everybody else think. Something I still occasionally don't follow 100% with all this streaming stuff, where I'm still worried about, oh yeah, do people want to watch or whatever. I think it's just a stream. People are going to watch, they're going to watch. If they don't, they don't. Yes, I would love for this to be like, oh, I make money off of it and whatever, but those would be a great degree of, That's how I've always thought about it. Like, I need to be just enjoying it. No matter what. I don't want to ever have this turn into I'm following trends or whatever. Screw following trends. Trends change. And people like weird stuff. And if you just try to force yourself to do only what others want, you stress yourself out, and also people might be able to see through it. And just be yourself, and you'll be happier, and you'll find your people. And you'll find your stuff you like doing. Once I get this floor clean, I'll start building the castle. Cool. Back. Close those up. Hiya. 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 Gotta clean that up. Clean that up too. Una más, and that chair's done. Over here. Big old dick bunny full of trash. Find the grody way. Nope, don't want that box there yet. I want... put you over there. Pop, go the boxes. I've definitely tried to think about what would be the next phase of, like, the face camera. I've thought about, well, one thing would be have it to be where it's, the background's keyed out enough to where it is literally just me, so I can make myself a bit bigger. But I've also thought about the various ideas of other, like, YouTube videos I want to do and all that, and that probably would be like the background that'd be like what I'd be talking about whatever video, so, or maybe just be like a background that all of them share, where they all have a bit of something about me, and probably somewhere in all of those, if I did like the general, hey, here's everything background, would have to be Olive. I know I've got someone that I'm working with to make some new assets for at least the YouTube channel. I was thinking about whether I could slide Olive in somewhere in there, but I've certainly thought about trying to do a different background. I've also wanted to first, before I put a lot of time and effort into doing anything like that, for both money and thought, I'd want to make sure that actually would be continuing to do this for more than like 2 months and then just stop and not pick it up for another like year. Which I seem like I'm been sticking to doing the streaming Thursday through Sunday pretty consistently now, so. But also I need a job to invest in the proper equipment that I might need. And the time to do the research for the correct software that I would need. So, thoughts certainly crossed my mind. Okay. I think I have the ability to like key out the background behind me and have it be just me, but I might get kind of picky of like, well, it's keying out too much or not enough, so I'd want to get a green screen and proper lighting to make sure that the green screen could work proper. Because then I won't have to worry about like hiding anything in the background of my like office here, because I've got my diploma somewhere over there, and I actually did slightly when I reorganized this office, when I flip-flopped the desk, I had to be concerned with, you know, could somebody read my full government name off of the degree, off of my diploma. Which I know there's YouTubers that go by their full names, but I'd want to be like super duper overly cautiously paranoid and make sure I could like lock everything down so that nobody could try to do anything sketchy with my full name. Of course, in the age of AI, I gotta worry about people with AI trying to do sketchy show up my face if I'm not careful. But right now, I'm not important enough for somebody to be doing AI trashy bullshit to me, so. But yeah, a future update's gonna be me having like actual backgrounds for my stream that isn't just my office, which is in dire need of reorganization. He thinks the floor is clean. So me's gotta start. Box. I did see that this was not clean. Oh, no. Oh, there's a box. Neato Speedo, Batman. Clean, 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 clean. Speaking of olives, it'll be about time I need to stop for a moment and feed her, but I'll wait a little bit longer. Sure, already got this box. Put that box there. This box will go right here. Once I've definitely thought about if I can ever get this office organized enough would be to see if I can have a cat trees that Olive would potentially, I don't know if she would, but potentially like, if I ever did like full screen talking to chat, not doing a video game like this, just be able to potentially have Olive like sitting, chilling in the background while I talk to people. But I would need peoples to chat to, which is why I purge all of my streams, jump immediately into gameplay, because I ain't talking to nobody at first. You know, but I know that's what streamers do. They like, you know, chit-chat with their chat for a few minutes, but I don't got a chat to chit-chat to for an hour. If you've seen prior streams, if I ever have chit-chatting, it's just me just kind of like eating up time until I figure out what I want to do next. So I would need like a bunch of people to talk to at first. And I don't got that yet. So you put a lot of thought into this, haven't you? Yes, I have. Because I've toyed with doing this off and on for a decade. And I've observed, and I've picked up stuff. And I want to hit whatever my success is. Oh no, my entire apartment is a giant junk drawer. I admit that. I fully admit that. I need peoples that are able to be by here more than just once every few months to help me organize and keep everything organized. No, I didn't want to knock that over. Back up. 11, not up. But again, I fully admit that my office is a blue mess. My apartment's a blue mess. It's always been a blue mess because I've just... Well, looking back, I'm just ADHD and just never was able to really dedicate the time and effort to try to be organized. Then moving back and forth between college dorm and home, it was never a ability or argument a need to like fully set up anywhere because I'm gonna just pack it back up in a few months anyway. So who cares if it was shoved in boxes? It was gonna be in a box probably anyway. So after I moved, I've still got, I think there's bins from, there's probably bins and boxes still packed from last time I moved back from the dorm that I never had need to fully unpack. I just like pick through for stuff I needed, and then there's stuff that was from the first time I moved out of my first apartment. You know, I think there's like stuff that got packed up because we had a bed bug problem in the one apartment I lived in Burlington, and then stuff like got packed in those bins and never got unpacked because never needed it. No better, somewhat clean. Yeah, it's just something that just it requires time and effort that. Oh, but even if somebody's like, "Oh, you don't do anything all day," it's like, yeah, but this brain can be just a pain in the ass sometimes because it can just determine that no, I'm not doing that right now. Why? Because I don't wanna. And that's just literally what it is. Just like for me, like that day is not the day to do it. Why? It's just not the day to do whatever it is. Or it's the thing, if you have energy to clean for about an hour, and then, well, that's also right in the middle of you cleaning, so it's a bigger mess. And now you just are like, well, great, I got it kind of clean, but now there's a big mess that I got to deal with. And that mess just sits there for a while, which that's the point where you just need people there to help. And also helpfully can help you set up really good systems to help keep stuff more under control. So just for example, I'm one that just I do my best to not go longer than the end of the day before I put dishes in the dishwasher. That way I don't gotta worry about any of the problems of not having the dishwasher loaded. That way the dishwasher is ready to go, I can just run it. And also I don't have plates and all that just with food on them just sitting in the sink. Of course, even if it used to be I do it immediately, I've been kind of slacking and be like, yeah, I'll just do it like near the end of the day, and that's potentially could cause me a problem with insects. Nothing bad, but just it's annoying. You're kind of rambling right now. I know I am. Welcome to How I Am, people who don't know me. Do-do-do, la-da-dee. Stacking boxes. The main rule I try to have when it comes to I'm disorganized and cluttered and all that, but I always try to have a thing of like, if it is something that had food on it, if it pertains to food, I'm going to very quickly deal with the plate, the cup, the wrapper, the whatever, because I don't want to deal with insects. If it's something that could be something that makes stuff dirty, I don't want to leave it to rot or to curdle or to whatever. Yeah, you do, don't you? And I will also hope that as time goes on, you can, as well as you know me, I'll be able to get to know me just a little bit better. Well, I want to get up here. Sorry if I fully built this fort up a little bit more. I'd probably have a clearer path upward. But I'm impatient. This is being kind of weird. Where it's like, nope, you're bouncing off now because you're not. Standing in a good place, apparently. Yeah, fuck you thing. But yeah, I try to have the rule of just, if there's a... I mean, soda cans you can kind of get away with, but if there's a plate you've ate on, if there's a dish that you've put any kind of condiment in, if you drank milk, there's anything that could like spoil or curdle or whatever, I just like, nope, this is getting put into the kitchen or into the trash can ASAP. I'm not going to risk. This way's probably the better way to do it. If it's something that can spoil or curdle or whatever, like, it's getting dealt with. If it's a food wrapper, I'm gonna throw it away into a trash can, preferably a covered trash can, as soon as I can. Again, you can probably fudge it a little bit. You can just put it into like a open top trash can, but also it's something that just, it's probably just down to like how much food residue is on it. Motherfucker, get in the goddamn. If there's food that you know insects could be eating, you know, most definitely take care of it. If it's a soda can, you know you've sucked it as dry can be. Yeah. Yes, I tried to make it to... I know I'm repeating myself and just saying a bit more, but just I'm just trying to think through just like my hard and fast rules of I don't screw around with this and I worry about certain things. So again, if it's stuff with food, I'm going to try to make as sure as I can that it's not going to be left out so that it can attract insects or smell bad or something. If I'm using a towel, I try to make it where I'm not just like laying it somewhere for all time and eternity, but especially if it's like wet, kind of like dried off with it or whatever, I try to make it, it's like either it's like on me drying off or it's hanging on the shower rack, or not shower, well, like the towel bar to like dry out. I don't leave it curled up, bunched up on the floor. That's just gonna potentially smell moldy. If I'm washing clothes, I'm going to, as soon as I can, transfer it from washer to dryer. That way I don't have to worry about oh, it's smelling musty or whatever. Again, if it can stink or if it can attract bugs, I deal with it as soon as I can. Dusting, I should dust more often than I do. Vacuuming, I definitely do that more often than I do, which for those it's like, oh yeah, I should do that. That's about as far as I do it most of the time. But yeah, that's just really the thing when it comes to cleaning, I would say. It's just, it's fine to be cluttered. It's not fine to like have stuff stink and cause mold or mustiness or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just mostly just cluttered, not messy. The only exception is that I desperately probably need to clean out my fridge a lot more often than I do, which again, that's borderlining on never. Because like, oh, I should do it, and then I just forget. And also, I'll occasionally have stuff sitting around because it's something that I don't want to just throw away. So I have windshield wiper blades that are old, but like I don't want to just throw them in the trash if I can. If I can recycle them somehow or have them like more ecologically disposed of, I want to do that. Of course, then I never figure that out, and they just keep sitting around. Which again is why I probably just need somebody at some point to be like, yeah, this is what you're doing. I understand you want to do it better, but no, you're just getting rid of it now. And I have bunch of things in my fridge, but they're in containers I'd like to recycle. Plastic may or may not get recycled very well, but glass can. Of course, I would then require that I go clean out said container, and it might be fucking putrid because it's been sitting in there for way too long. And also, I don't want to waste food if I can help it. There's definitely times where I probably throw something out or don't get rid of it as soon as I could. It's like, well, you know, it's like, because I don't want to like overthrow stuff out. There might be stuff that's perfectly fine, but I just might be like, but it like has weird taste or feel or whatever because it's been there for just a little bit too long. But it's probably perfectly fine to eat. It's just like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of old. I can be kind of weird about like leftovers, for example. There's certain things I'll do for leftovers. Other things I'm like, if I didn't eat it all, it's been thrown away because I do not know a good way to reheat it and or to store it. That's the neurodivergence in me, I am sure. Where certain tastes feel weird. I get to be very particular, for example, about something just having like almost like too much moisture in it, kind of thing. So some stuff in the freezer, if it starts to get a little too freezer burnt, I'm almost tempted to throw it out almost immediately because that water will melt, it'll sit there, it'll make the thing soggy, and it won't taste as good. I have to know that microwave dinners can have that problem, where they just probably a little much water just sitting in there, then they just taste kind of soggy.
The Wicked One will start looking for me as soon as he finds out I'm dead. I'm sorry. I don't have 9 lives like you. I have 1. And I fucked it up.
That's all the boxes that are up here. Let's see what house at 603. Let me place the boxes that are in this room, and then I'll step away for a minute to feed Olive, my own cat, who would probably either think this is all neat or still be like, yeah, I'm hanging out around you all the time, human. because you're my human, so. I'd like to follow me from room to room. She's somewhere right now. Occasionally, I think it might be like usually when it's like good and warm, she might be like over there between bookshelf and a wall, 'cause there's a little slot there, and just hang out there while I'm in here, or she'll be on the other side of this stack of boxes behind me. 'Cause she likes being near me. Which I'm not gonna be sad about. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna do my best to always cherish it. Because one day she won't be here. And it's gonna be a lot sooner than I would like. She's healthy right now, but doesn't matter how much time I get with her, it won't be enough time. And I'd get another cat after that. It wouldn't be immediate, but I'd have to give my love to that I have for Olive to another cat at some point. Just don't know when it would be. But I'm hoping I don't have to worry about that for a while. So. Definitely know that when I ever get a house, for one, I'm going to want to make sure I have a little area that Olive and any future cats can go in and out of, to be able to experience outside when they want to, without me having to, well, after now with Olive, which is babysit her out on the patio, make sure it doesn't slip over or under or through the railing and then go to God knows where. I'd want to get like a little catio. And maybe even just have an entire room that's just the cat's room. I don't 100% know what I'd put in there, because maybe she'd want beds, maybe she wouldn't. Because Olive was very much happy that this apartment has carpet, because I see her laying on the floor all the time. I think the bottom layer is now built. This is really well built. You have the cat straight, then you have all the boxes the cat could climb in and out of. There's a YouTube channel called, and social media account called Coal and Marmalade that started years ago. It started off with the black cat Cole and his younger orange sibling Marmalade. And there were just a lot of fun things that they did, and then also one of the cat parents, she's really skilled with arts and crafts, so for years now, every once in a while, she'll build some grand cardboard box structure for them. Might be a castle. I think one year it was a pirate ship. The one they just did was like a mining town, but then like some UFOs had crashed, which can make a really cool little layout, because where the UFOs crash, there's like essentially it makes like little windows for cats to look out of for those like two areas. Yeah, it's really neat. One of those you kind of wish you had the skill or the space to do it. I definitely probably have the cardboard to do it, because I order stuff from time to time. But, yeah, at some point I can make a giant, it's like jungle gym for Olive out of boxes and for any future cat as well. So, I think that's all the boxes in this room. So again, I'm gonna step away for a moment and go give Olive her food. Stay tuned. Alrighty. Back to more cleaning up this nightmare of a crime scene. Chuck some boxes in there. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Pick up the trash, pick up the trash. Picking up all the trash. Had to ring the bell again. Because, well, reasons.
All work, no play. Goddamn.
It can be a private Kowalski. For sure, for sure. Zoop, zoop, and zoop. Sponge it up. Sponge it up. Maybe. Again, nightmares are weird, man. I'm just looking at the markings on the box. Because they went that slightly extra mile, the game devs did, to try to put at least some. Because I like the recycling symbol on it, and some other symbols too that would probably represent various things. It's so frustrating after I stack these boxes, like it's not done because certain things aren't technically clean on those boxes. That would be annoying. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Those might not necessarily be about like, oh, they got a discount. It's probably just, I can tell you as a owner of a cat, like you just, cat likes the box. Like, well, you know, I don't want to throw it out. They keep laying in that box. They like that box. And there's probably also a degree of just you spoil the cat. So you definitely buy more than you actually need to, but no, it's not more than you need to because the cat deserves to be loved. Somebody put it, it's like I don't spoil my pets, I give them a fair financial compensation for the services they provide. I can totally see this being a thing of just boxes pile up and the owner just had an idea of like, well, I keep getting these boxes. Why don't I just save enough and make my cat a giant cat? Or in this case, I think he had 2 cats, so it give his cats a giant cardboard box castle to play in. Because they deserve it. box into the other room. I think that would be besides whatever trash apparently still need to pick up. Don't know if it's the trash that counts, but give me that box. There we go. I think now it's just find all the boxes and finish building with 4, and that'll be the end of this particular nightmare level. Gate box. Okay. Box goes in there. Grab. Duck. Get in there. Okay. Stack of cat gears kind of exploded. Outside or carry them for no blooming reason, might as well just chuck them into the next room. Those are boxes, they'll survive. Nope, 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 nope. Just throw the box. We'll throw the box. Okay. Now. I'm trying to see if I can do this level by level. Yeah, whatever. It gonna get built. It gonna get built real good. Starts taking a moment because I know there's secrets. Oh, it's another box. It's another box in our room. Build enough for our kitty. It's video games. Best games have some secrets to them. Question I have to ask is where would those secrets be? Ooh, I know. Okay. Thank you, Cleaner Vision. Just told me what to do. Yeah, prepared for what's probably the most dream sequence of all of this stuff, of all the nightmare levels. Once again, these are just Kowalski's dreams/nightmares after doing the missions, so going to a freaky dream sequence. And it's the most dream sequence of all the nightmare levels. There's the music disc. I never activated Windows. I'm like 95% sure I could. I think I have the code. There's so many people that don't. Because it's working. It's probably also good because Microsoft one less way to track your shit. They don't really need to frickin' do. I think I'm like 95% sure this gaming PC, I have the code to activate it, and I have the directions to do it. Again, just keep not doing it. I think also there's probably that thing of being like, well, what if I, like, well, that doesn't, what do I think this way to do it doesn't work? I actually have to, like, drop the way too bloomin' much for an activation of Windows. As we can see, I can tell you, like, I've had this gaming rig for 2 years. It's working just fine without activating Windows. If I had the time, confidence, expertise, I'd find a way to make this just a complete Linux machine. That I have to, cause you can play games on Linux, so that Windows can make it easier. But there's more and more and more games that can run just fine off of Linux. So maybe one day I'll have that. Where I'm running everything off of a Linux distribution instead of having to use Windows. Box. I gotta go box hunting actually. You go there. There are more boxes. I don't know. I didn't see them. Oops. Okay. Find tres más boxes. They all go right there. Okay. Alright, there's 2 right there. Score. A score. Alright. Grab, duck, walk through, duck. One more box is somewhere. Not in here. Food. Alright, once I do find that last box and place it, I might at least start the next nightmare level, but I'm probably gonna want to get like partway through it before I'll need to stop so that I can start watching AEWs. Because I do come on tonight. Yes, today's Saturday. I feel done. Where's that box? Oh, I go. It's a dream, baby. Nothing makes sense. Where's that last blooming box? Oh, there it is. Ha. Sorry, I'm just looking for this litter box in a sink you're talking about. Let's see a food dish in a sink. I see toilet paper in a sink. I see these two litter boxes, but I don't see a litter box in a sink anywhere. It's possible I'm completely blind. Okay. Okay. I'm at 5 flat. Nice. And judging by that time, I'm going to have time to get through a good portion of the next mission, but I'm not going to be able to get it done this time. But next time on the Tsar talks to his brother and maybe no one else, it can be finished, I'm sure. Probably fire. Party's over. Modern art and call in dead. Party's over, bruh. Party's over. Okay. To the next nightmare level with me. Mwahaha. Excuse me.
This land is much older than we can imagine. One would say if you want to throw a party, you don't need history classes. At least, not to wake up any ghosts.
I think this is what I want to be able to get done. 100% anyway. This one that might take me a while anyway, is what I'm trying to say. Trying to find faucet so I can fill up water bucket. Okay, it is up there. Alright. Yeah, again, this is Kowalski's nightmare, so I'm gonna be
No way through without finding that key first.
Kowalski's nightmares can probably be terrifying. Ooh, cheese. Get the fuck out of here, cheese. Nope, I need bucket. Yeah, again, this is probably still on Game Pass. I know they have, I don't think they have Act 2, but I think they have the first act, the Nightmare levels, the Master Cleaner levels, and I think the Community levels, the two of them that they added. So if you want to try it out, it should be on Game Pass. It shouldn't take up much space either. Trying to determine how late I want to go. I might go to, if I do randomly finish this level, or more likely thing of it might be maybe about 7:30, 7:35. I'll just start winding down. That way I can have time to make dinner and get ready to start watching AEW. Clean up the glass, cause it's classified as trash. Be a keg of beer. I don't know if I need to stack the. I think in the story mission you have to stack the cakes. I don't know if you have to stack the cakes in this nightmare mission or not. I am going to pull out this. That'll help soften up stains.
Cleaning procedure started.
And back trash. Sounds like it might be raining outside. Yes, well, now you know that's what dried or liquefied beard can look like. Liquefied beer. All beer is liquefied. That's what beer looks like. And probably also get certain ciders. I know that you have your great reasons to not ever want to try alcohol, but I'm always willing to give you a safe place to try. But that way you can at least say, like, yeah, I've tried it and all that. I'm never going to force anyone to drink if they don't want to. Now, that is not beer. That is most definitely not beer. Motherfucker, I said get in the back. There. Asshole. No, I'm gonna dangle on the thing. I would hope that cake's not full of the red substance that looks like it is. If so, that would be a bit of a problem. Now dealing with vampires made a different story. Though I'm not certain they'd have a keg of that. They would just have the human there and just go from there, I would imagine. That might be gruesome for vampires, though. I'll just have to keep an eye out, see if there's somewhere where I need to stack. I imagine there's somewhere I have to stack them. I just don't know where they would be. I know where I had to stack them in the roughly where I had to stack them in the story. Just don't know right now where to put them. Oh, you done? Good. Yep, but it could also get nightmares are weird, man. What else can I use as a mop? What other mop? So there's the regular mop. You can unlock the Bogato mop. Ooh, very fun, sir. We have the Fisherman Special we're currently using. The Laser mop, if I ever do one of the missions on True Cleaner. And then I can unlock the Trident of Stormy Seas. trident used by a god of stormy seas prevents limescale buildup and kills over 99.99% of bacteria. Yeah, screw it, why not? Let's see how this looks. Just gonna stab it. Like, die, stain, die, die. Stab it. Oh, that's cool. As you saw with like the magician's little thing for the trash can, they did the same thing with the little pocket black hole where it has special animations just for it because it would make sense. It wouldn't make sense for it to have like the lever handle like the other mop would. I want to unlock because the sponges, yeah, I have like the regular sponges right now, but there are some sponges that are. What we got for sponges? Ooh, no, I can use them. Ooh. Gravity punch. Punch of fire and ice. Fire punch. Candy punch. Ice punch. That one. Just gonna. Yes, I do very much enjoy it too. Again, if you look at the achievements, they're all references to, they're all names of song lyrics. They've clearly had a fun time making this game, and I'm happy that they were. Concerns. So I want to have the black hole one eventually, but I need to do modern art first. Down too small. Reference to Power Rangers. See, this is amusing, but it's also kind of annoying. Every time you step away from it, you drop it. You're every time. It's like, just drove me nuts. Programmable baseball bat. I think I know where to find that when I get to it. I loved Power Rangers as a kid. I very much remember having various things related to it when I was around kindergarten, first grade, somewhere around there. I was wondering whether there's a bunch of them as well. Yeah, I really want to do the true cleaner stuff just for the challenge of it, but man, some of these skins are also just like, man, I need to just for that, just to get the frickin' various skins as well. Yeah, I don't know how many different spin-offs of Power Rangers there were. That was one where, like, some of it was actually, like, I think, if I recall everything correctly, it's like, some of the, like, the actual, like, Power Ranger footage themselves was actually footage from a show from Japan. And then they just said, like, yeah, we're gonna, like, splice in our own footage of the kids being, there's a certain degree of just, you know, parody and stuff like that. It's probably like it's parody and it's making a reference to, but not recreating the thing. I'm certain if you were to see if we can find it again, the outfits. If you were to look like at the details of this, there's gonna be something about this that either it's distinct enough to be like, okay, clearly it's referencing Power Rangers, but isn't, or it's a thing of you really can't, you can't copyright or trademark it because it's too general, it's too broad, it's not unique enough. Is the way that they might be able to get around it. And I saw a clip today that was talking about how in Forza games you don't get damage to cars. And it's because there's automakers that are like, yeah, you cannot wreck our cars, can't make our cars look dangerous, can't damage our cars, there'll be a lawsuit. And how other game series get away with it, like Grand Theft Auto, and I think they point out Burnout, how they get away with it. It's a thing of, well, I mean, it's not a Ferrari, it's another type of car entirely. Where it's a thing of, well, what are you talking about? It's not a Ford, it's some other brand entirely. What are you talking about? It's Lampanati, it's not Ferrari, it's a made up car. It might kind of remind you of it, but it's just inspired by or parodying. Although Japan can be kind of weird with some of their copyright stuff. But whoa. Yeah, it's all about knowing the law. Yeah, millennials could probably have the same thing about a bunch of stuff as well. There's probably could be millennials that are like, what's I Love Lucy? I know what I Love Lucy is. Granted, millennials also we were kind of a weird point where just we got to see the transition of the analog to the digital world. And just a lot of what's considered kind of like the norm of how things are done today on the internet. It's just it was my generation. Because I just was like pro wrestling. I could just be a complete knob and just be like, well, I don't know who some of these wrestlers are. But what I could do is something called an internet search. Just look it up. Says the person who loves looking up history, but anyway. Just there's things that want to go like, oh, these kids, they don't know da da da. It's like, oh no, they don't know something that was decades before their time? Those like they weren't here for it. And you can just show them that. Now, if they want to be a little shithead and go, that's stupid, I don't care, then it's just like, alright, well, that's how you're going to be. But, it's like, just show kids stuff. And I'm certain there's probably Power Rangers still out there. There's probably some thing out there. And then there's going to be millennial parents like, hey, let me show you this. Which I'm for sure going to do with any child, niece, or nephew that I have. Like, I'm going to show you some stuff that I think might be neat. I mean, shoot, just with it was easy for you to discover, various shows and all that hadn't been on for years that I grew up with. You had video games that were long before your time. It's possible to do. You just, especially now, just the advent of like YouTube and all of that, just people can easily share like, hey, here's something I grew up with. I think it's really neat. So I say so. It's just there's just so much of just like, oh, millennials killed this industry and that industry and the other industry, and there's just a lot of just people always perpetually wanting to treat my generation like we're kids all the time. There's a certain point where it's just like, we aren't kids anymore. And Gen Z is one where if they want to try to put all Gen Z or kids and blah blah blah, it's like most of them are voting age now. Most Gen Z are voting age. Try again. It can just be a thing, just older generations just wanting to knock on us, but then not recognize that, yeah, I can't plug into the internet. Also, there can also just be things that are just so timeless and are just referenced all the time that just you learn what the reference is. And again, you probably had older person who knew what it was showing you it. So just be a thing, like if it's something that you think is worth sharing with people, you share it. You don't just completely go, well, they knew about it. Because there are going to be shows and movies that you grew up with that Gen Alpha and then I think Beta's the next one, they're not going to know about because it's before their time. Just like there's things before your time.
Something is blocking the way.
I don't know what is blocking the way.
I need to clear the way first.
Clear the way of what? That? Oh my god. So I know how the collision detection works. It's working in a rectangle or a rectangular prism around it. Okay. But just going back to like, there's people that want to complain that, oh, kids didn't know how to write cursive. And it's like, well, it's almost like some of y'all were on the school boards that decided to get rid of it. You want to complain that, oh, they want to, oh, these kids don't use rotary phone. It's like, yeah, because they're not around anymore. There's no need for it. There's just certain skills that just, you don't need them anymore. We've come up with a better idea. It can be neat to learn about, but you don't need to know it. And also, it's that blooming in part, why didn't you teach your kid? Because with every generation for a long time, probably before the Industrial Revolution, probably most generations after the Industrial Revolution, there's skills that are lost. For example, I don't know of how many people today that can confidently say they know how to hunt and skin an animal. And that's when it comes to Gen Alpha having the brain rot and all that. It's like, well, the parents need to just. It seems like parents need to raise their kids on the internet like millennials were raised on the internet. It's like, don't believe everything on there, limit screen time, and all of that. It's what my generation went through. We also went through being told, oh, Wikipedia is not a valid source. Well, I can promise you something. Wikipedia is going to be a very good resource. If you don't, if you want it to be a thing of, well, kids that learn to research, like, okay, cool. It might have been like during school or somebody pointed out at some point, it's like, okay, cool. Tell the kids to go to the Wikipedia article, but then show them, like, okay, here are the sources at the bottom. Here's how this article came about. Go look into these and other sources and see if you can recreate it and back up what's there. But again, just like kids are being allowed to be shown brain rot all the time because parents are like, oh, here's a tablet, and they don't pay attention. The reason why, in part, that it was no big deal for us to be seeing, a bunch of violent, gory, R-rated, whatever content growing up is just mom and dad knew what we were watching and all of that. Just they knew, like, okay, this is, they swear in this. They, they knew what was in our content. Okay, with video games, I mean, it's just the game console's hooked up to the main TV. The computer was in mom and dad's room. So they knew what I was doing, and also with me, I didn't have to worry about the internet being good, bad, or anything, because I didn't have dial-up until I was almost 18. So the good, the bad, and the good, the bad, and the in-between of me not being online all the time and not being an idiot's a key thing. Just I'm going to be kind of hoping and presuming that we're going to be, well, for one, we're going to have a bunch of the really old boomers, and then whatever generation was prior to them, we're going to have them eventually just not being in positions of power anymore, and it will be millennials that'll be making decisions finally. Maybe some Gen X, but also millennials. We've grown up, and then Gen Alpha has grown up with the internet. We aren't scared and confused and all that by computers. We know how to use them. And millennials, as I said, we were the ones that were helping to pave the way between the analog age and the digital age. So we know the history of where things come from and why things are a certain way, and we remember things being not as convenient. For us, it's not. It really isn't. And I don't think it really needs to be. Of course, there can be. It's just. You teach kids is the tablets and all that aren't evil, but it's just you need to know how to have. You need to have screen time limitations. You need to not just put in front of the TV all day and be like, whatever. You need to, well, putting a kid in front of a TV wasn't too bad because there's only but so much they could watch. But with the internet, you can see anything. Then the algorithms can just have you see more and more and more and more of it. When it comes to political content, for example, it can be easy to go down either a rabbit hole of being perpetually informed or to be a right-wing grifter. It's easy to get sucked down the rabbit holes of the Andrew Tates and the Logan Pauls and all of that, where if you're not taught differently, then that's all you'll see. You'll see more and more and more of that. That's why you have to be a good parent and limit screen time, and better yet, you need to know what your kid's doing. You need to know what the content there is they're watching. You need to know just as much as possible. You need to know it. Put screen time limiters and just... There were also more strict standard levels on television. We need to apply those to internet as well. There's just certain things you just can and cannot be allowed to do. And there might be places like YouTube that are... I don't know what they're trying to do. On the surface, it can look like they're trying to protect kids by having the YouTube creators be like, yeah, is this content made for kids or not? And the content creators will fight back, though. It's just like, you have the YouTube Kids app. Why don't you have the kids go there? And also, you need to police that content a lot better, because that's got some questionable stuff there where their kids are being advertised to and may not even realize it. Again, parents never taught them. But it's wanting to put the onus on the YouTube creators when it should be like, no, you have the YouTube Kids app. The kids should go there. And then we have the problems of other places like, well, you need to like show an ID of some sort to, be able to access adult content on the internet. And people are like, I got an immediate problem with this. One, why aren't parents doing their job? But more importantly for us now, too, yeah, cool, you're going to just have places that are storing pictures of everybody's passports or driver licenses or whatever. Yeah, because nothing ever gets hacked ever. It's not like having a giant collection of people's identifying information is going to be a bad thing. No, no, no. That can't possibly go wrong. And then you just get into a thing of you're going to have a massive overcorrection, accidentally or not, trying to block way too much content. Just because some people have DNA to have kids doesn't mean they have what it takes to manage kids. It's absolutely right. It's one thing to provide DNA to a child, it's another thing to actually be a parent. Yeah, it takes, in part, being there. It takes just, you do have to sacrifice some for them. You have to be willing to tell them no on things, hold a firm hand on it, and parenting's hard. Parenting's really freaking hard. Sometimes. It just has to be on parents a lot more so than anything else to just tell them, like, hey, no, you cannot watch this, or I don't want you watching this right now. But don't get that confused with, oh, I'm going to make sure that no kid can watch this. No. No, 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 no. No. All that with book bans, it's like, well, I don't want my kid reading that, then don't let your kid read it. If other parents want to let their kid read it, then let them do that. Same thing with religions. People are going to want to say, well, this thing's against my religion. It's like, well, cool. That means that you can't do it because of your religion. Just because you can't do it because of your religion does not mean that I can't do it because I don't share your religion. Get it straight. Of course, with them, it's not about protecting the kids or any of that inane crap. It's about just controlling people. And you can have an issue with trying to police content sometimes because in this effort to like, oh, protect the children from sexual content, they could accidentally block out content about the LGBTQ plus community. So you have kids that are never learning, like, no, it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be bisexual. Yeah, you're trans. This is why you think the way you do. This is why you feel the way you do. You're not alone. It's because they want to just, especially religious zealots, will want to control people and say, oh, no, 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 you can't do that. Again, they want to say because of their religion. It's like, yeah, it's your religion, not mine. Quit forcing it upon me, asshole.
Locked tight. Looks like I'll need to find a key.
Yeah, any kid I have, I'm not gonna like be introducing them to the violent content up front, but I'm not gonna try to have a plan for when I'll show it to them. Because a big key thing is always gonna be just kids need to understand this is acceptable in the real world, this is not. This is a bad person because of XYZ reason. Again, not just like here's a tablet, whatever. That's not parenting, that's just giving birth to life and then just not doing your job after that. Well, the world's gonna get better. There's people that are just bound and determined is not quite the word for it, but it's just like they're dead set like, no, the world's gonna get better. No, we're not gonna do it that stupid way. No, that is not good enough. No, I don't care. Like, that's what I've always said. I don't care. It's the bad way to do it, or there's a better way to do it. There's always people determined to do better. And there's always people determined to try to control others because they're assholes. And that group of people need to go fuck themselves. Here we are. God, need to clean that dirty toe. I don't think there was ever a time that I didn't, because you're talking to someone who, when Dad had to get a new job, and we were moving from Ohio to North Carolina, and me and Mom were staying in Ohio, a thing that me and Dad were bonding over letters, because it was 96, was Doom, and I was 5 or 6 at the time. So I don't know if there was really much time where I wasn't being exposed to all of that. But again, they knew exactly what I was watching and partaking in. And it would be a thing of just as long as I didn't, as long as I acted right, pretty much, it wasn't a problem. You know, would I do that with any child of mine? I don't know if I would. And it's not necessarily about, like, oh, exposing them to bad stuff or whatever. It might just be a thing of not wanting to traumatize them potentially. But also just be a thing of, we'll go with, like, swear words, for example. There's people that have the philosophy, they're like, oh, kids shouldn't be hearing swear words, which I'm fine with that. But also just people who have a different philosophy on it of, you can expose those kids to those words and you teach those kids, like, hey, there's a time and a place for them. They have meaning. This is why you can't just say them willy-nilly type of stuff. And again, it's just, I will probably have my kids not be exposed to all of that for a bit, but that's just because I'm going to want to, like, be sure they're ready. That's my thing. Yeah, maybe there's a bit of just wanting to let them maintain their childhood for as long as possible. I don't know. Of course, there are also certain things that get rated a certain way, and it's like, don't know about all that. Don't know if that really needs to be rated like that, but I think I know where these characters go. I think. I don't know if I can get there yet. Maybe not. Plus, also another thing about, you know, like, oh, you know, was I exposed to, like, mature stuff and all that? You have to remember that me getting into pro wrestling was the Attitude Era. That was the introduction to pro wrestling, I'm pretty sure. That and the NWO. So it was never. That's why I have my view of what a top guy could look like. It's going to look like Stone Cold Steve Austin or Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Not red and yellow, not, you know, John Cena. You know, my version of top guy was Attitude Era. It was kind of edgy and real and all that. But again, it's like one of my favorite people ever is Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know, for drinking beer, flipping people off, and swearing all the time. So, I don't think there were any training wheels, really. It was just being told, like, hey, don't do any of this in real life. Like, yeah, that's adult stuff, so you don't get to do that or say any of that. Okay. See, again, I've always been around the more mature stuff. There was good storylines there, but there definitely is a lot of things during that time that just were not very good and did not age well. And some things even at the time was like, ew, no. It was no good. So I think whenever looking back at the Attitude Era, you have to have the ability to say, yes, some things were great, and some things were just a product of their time, and some things were just bad, because it was probably a lot of, like, just throw it at the wall and see what stuck. I think, thinking of I'm thinking of Vince Russo. Dark Side of the Ring just started season 7, and they have the first 3 episodes of this season are about Jeff Jarrett and TNA, and they have the first episode up on YouTube. And Vince Russo didn't come off like a complete raging jackass that episode. He actually came off, you know, like kind of decent. Like he wasn't just trying to get blooming attention. Because always Russo would be sometimes like, I hate pro wrestling. I don't want people to get into it. I tell people don't get into it if they want to, blah, blah, blah. But there's a certain point where it's like, motherfucker, why do you keep showing up for this shit then? Why do you keep talking about pro wrestling if you don't like it, man? Just go away then. But the thing, it's something Brian Zane said. It's like, I have many problems with Russo's booking, but without it, I may not become a wrestling fan. So, kind of take a good with the bad thing, I guess. But yeah, Ben Russo actually came out kind of, I think, looking actually kind of okay-ish in the latest Dark Side of the Ring. And also, he started to call Hulk Hogan a piece of shit, because he was. Ah, great adventure. So you took an arrow to the knee. Oh, then someone didn't even tell you properly. So the thing about take stuff with like a grain of salt and all that. I'm presuming you probably don't know the history behind it, but so it goes back to at least Roman times, maybe even Greek times, where people would be paid with salt because well, salt was really important because then you could preserve your food. So to say someone is worth their weight in salt, pretty much, or to say take it with a grain of salt, is to say that, well, if they get a lot of salt, then, well, clearly they're worth a lot. But to say, okay, take it with a grain of salt means, I don't put too much value into it. And all that people kind of use it properly. Also, people might use it, not really know what it means. So with Russo, it would be a thing of, like, you would take a lot of what he says with little to no salt, like the smallest grain of salt you take it with, kind of thing. It's just me being probably pedantic about a saying, probably. But yeah, Russo just. I know that when going back to Dark Side of the Ring, they did the Bash of the Beach episode. Russo is probably more right than wrong in that occasion, talking about what led to that complete breakdown. But there's still probably some degree of Russo making himself probably look a little better than he is, or not remembering something quite right. There's probably some degree of truth in the middle, but that's an occasion where if I would be asked, okay, who do you believe more, Russo or Bischoff? Bischoff just seems like he's just desperate to kiss Hulk Hogan's ass. And just Bischoff is also one that's infamous for just lying and all that, man. So there's definitely a great degree of Russo's probably telling the truth more often than not in that occasion. But then there's other times where, man, it's just, he's so full of shit. Russo is really full of shit. And again, just so bitching on about the wrestling industry and then just keep talking about it. It's like, motherfucker, if you don't like it, then shut up about it and leave. It's not hard, I don't think. Unless, gasp, you are just doing it for attention, asshole. Open. Now, Russo is probably a salty bastard, so there's going to be a high degree of salting because he's a salty, salty bastard sometimes. Hey, buddy. You're coming with me, buddy. You can't lay there no more. No more. If I had a good way to watch all Dark Side of the Ring still, I've watched already I think the first 2 episodes of season 7 are already out for Dark Side. I don't know if the third one's out yet. But I think the story of like why Dark Side was doing stuff about TNA, that they were actually thinking about doing almost like a spin-off just about TNA, and then the producer or people higher up at Vice said like, hey, we want like the first 3 episodes of season 7 to be about TNA. So there's definitely a lot of stuff they're not going to be getting into in a season 7 of TNA, and maybe we'll get that much deeper thing about Jeff Jarrett and about TNA. But just from when I saw the first episode of season 7, it's fascinating stuff. And the Dark Side of the Ring stuff, and then just the last couple of years with Jeff Jarrett has been a real reevaluation of Jeff Jarrett and his legacy and all of that, to where people are looking at him much more fondly. Episodes I remember the most. The two-parter about Guerrero and Benoit, I do remember, because that's just such a shocking event. There's K9, the guy who was a pro wrestler, and apparently a biker who bombed a police station. That was something. Trying to think of the others that I've seen. There's one about Marty Jannetty where, oh my lord, you want someone who's definitely just full of shit and wasted potential. My god. Because Marty Jannetty just... It seems almost a textbook example of if his lips are moving, he's lying. Just making up stuff. I'm trying to think of other episodes there have been. I can think of Magnum TA, a massive what if, because he was in the NWA in the 80s, and people were thinking that he was going to be the next big star in that territory after Ric Flair. And they were like, make it to where, like, yeah, you know, Magnum TA was going to be the top babyface. He was going to take the title off of Flair and all that. But then Magnum TA got into a horrible car accident and got paralyzed. And it's a massive, just like, what if? I have, yes. I'm trying to think of whether I remember more about the episode, whether I've seen more of what I've seen in it, or whether it's just like, I know that Solid Monster talked about it. That's what kind of comes to mind. But I know some of the stories in there, yeah. Another one that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I'm trying to remember what other episodes are I know I've seen. Owen Hart, that's another heartbreaking one. Where they talk about Owen Hart's death, and it's just, man, it's just one of those, just, it absolutely did not need to happen. It was a dumb thing. But probably on a more lighthearted note, I know that Brawl for All and Bash at the Beach 2000 got Dark Side of the Ring treatment. Those were good ones. I'm trying to remember what other Dark Side of the Ring episodes there have been that I remember. I think up through at least season 5, maybe even season 6. I'm trying to remember which seasons I would have for sure watched through. There's other stuff like I've heard the summaries of. I know at least the first 4 seasons I've watched thoroughly before I stopped paying for Sling. I know there's a 2-part about Brian Pillman. That was a shocking one as well. Brawl for All was insanity. Just absolute insanity. It was such a stupid idea. The Vince Russo apparently had the idea because he just, JBL was running his mouth and he wanted to try to shut him up. And it seemed like JBL, I remember, yeah, JBL at the end of it admitted, like, yeah, it was kind of a stupid idea. Brawl for All was just bad. It was bad. Shouldn't have done it. Let me just move this, put this mop of this bucket closer. Closer to where I am. Put it here. And let's wash up this area. This area is filthy. It's dark. Food. looked over the eventual winner, Bart Gunn, and it was, it's certainly amusing, but it's also just a thing of, he kind of got to like show up those people because they were wanting like Dr. Death to win it, and he just managed to win it even though they didn't want him to. They wanted him to like throw it or whatever, and he just won the whole thing. And it's an amusing moment to see him get knocked out by Butterbean, but it's also a thing of, okay, great, but where are you at the end of all this? You don't, you didn't let him work with Steve Austin. You made him look like a chump. He won, and then you didn't do anything with him. So you got all these people hurt, legit, and you just, what did you do? What was the point? You could have at least tried to make something out of Bart Gunn, but they didn't even do that. They just had this thing like, we didn't want him to win. So then, we're just gonna just make him look awful. You know, it's like, great. Just great.
Why have you called us? This place is already ours.
Every 10 years, this land needs to run red with blood. And the chaos must reign. That is the law. All hail the wicked one.
Alright, weirdos. Well, probably actually a good thing is that Bradshaw / JBL did get his ass knocked out, and may it humbled him a little bit for a while. But again, just, it was such a stupid idea. It just got people hurt. And then again, just, you got nothing out of it. Nobody came out better than they were. Just a bunch of people that either were hurt or just got to be shown up that they couldn't actually fight. So,
I should clean it first.
oh, there is one episode. It was about someone I hadn't heard of before. I had to look up what his name was, but it was like somebody I had never heard of before. And he had just like a, it was a very weird, twisted story as well. I don't know about Steve Williams' injury history. It's entirely possible that he was riddled with injuries. He'd been, doing it for a while. It's always possible. And I don't know his injury history. Of course, that's the thing about it is that depending upon when it was, Austin already been dropped on his head and he already had his neck broken. So it would have had to be 98 because that would have been why it would have mattered to have somebody like work on maybe that program with Austin. So you already would have the question of like, how good could it have been because Austin already had his neck screwed up in 98. So if I need to look up the list of episodes and find that one guy I'm talking about that I'd never heard of before, but it's like weird and fascinating story. Oh, you want just like see a complete awful human being? There's an episode about Ludwig Borga, who was someone who was around for a very short time before I got into wrestling, and most of it's just about his life outside of and after wrestling. But man, he was not really a good dude. Does that happen when you have nationalists and very far right views? You tend to not be a very good person. Which one am I thinking of? There's a lot of these where people die. For sure. Oh, I know one that's like, if you'd want one that's for sure like the definition of Dark Side of the Ring, it's the one about a Grizzly Smith, who is all sorts of just an awful human being. And he was the father of Jake the Snake Roberts and Rockin' Robin. And just that dude just fucked up his kids bad, man. Just an awful human being. I don't want to say to be something like, we should be thankful for the parents we had. I don't want to go down that path, but it's just like, my God, Grizzly Smith was just an awful human being. Things that I almost don't want to repeat what he did, because it was just like that. You almost can feel gross just watching it. Be like, how could somebody do that to other people and his kids and all that? Simply, it's a piece of shit. I think if you wanted like a overview of all of them, I know that Solid Monster has reviewed every episode of Dark Side of the Ring from the first 6 seasons, and he's gonna do season 7. I feel like I probably did. Yeah, that's one where it's hard for me to tease apart what I saw in the episode versus people's reviews and just what I've heard about him over the years, where he's just fantastic wrestler, but my God, was he just an awful human being as well. Just my God. Dynamite Kid, Grizzly Smith. There's probably one or two other just absolutely awful people that they've covered, because Dark Side of the Ring. It's also been a bit since I've watched them. I've been just coming down a rabbit hole of listening to Solid Monster when he was reviewing them after the episodes had come out, which is neat because he also will say, like, here's information they didn't go over in the show, so you get a lot more context if you watch Solid Monster's reviews as well. Okay, it's 7:40. I'm going to end stream right now, get ready for dinner, and then eat and watch AEW. So, I guess I'm gonna pick this back up next stream tomorrow. So yeah. Yeah, I'll until next time. See y'all later.